Hi, and welcome to the Healing Hub. Today I'm going to talk about depression, which unfortunately is a common problem. I see it a lot with clients. I've been through it myself, and I know lots of people personally who have suffered from the more severe variety. It is often confused with grief, but grief is different. It has to do with loss, and I will deal with that in another video in a few weeks. But depression really is all about anger, either suppressing your anger or turning it back onto yourself in a kind of a, self-hatred and self-loathing way. Basically, there are two types of depression. There's the kind of mild garden variety everyday type that comes with being disappointed, disillusioned and frustrated with the way things turn out in your life. For example, you wanted a promotion that you didn't get, or you got the promotion and you weren't happy with the job afterwards and you just wished that you had stayed with the one you had before. That is usually resolvable by talking about it, writing about it, whinging about it, moving through it like day to day, like every other disappointment that comes up in life. The more severe end of the spectrum, the severe clinical type depression that most people need to get help for, that is a result of trauma, usually being victimized, bullied, abused, having loved ones die in tragic ways. The more severe stuff that happens to people that cultivates a lot of anger over time, rage, even murderous rage. And doesn't mean they're going to murder whoever it is they're mad with. But even the sentiment and, mouthing the words, I'll kill you, or I want you to die, or whatever, quite often is a release. And it's enough sometimes just to get that out. But if you don't do that, push all that down, or turn it back on yourself and blame yourself, this is my fault, why did I allow this to happen, all that kind of thing. That leads to a lot of self-harming behaviours and suicide and all of that. We see that a lot with bully victims and victims of other forms of abuse. So, in order to heal this, you need to get in touch with your anger. If you reach a point where it's that suppressed over a long period of time, you will kind of go numb and kind of enter that dark black hole that a lot of depressed people talk about. You need to get help when you get to that point. And you might need meds, and if you don't want pharmaceuticals, there are homeopathics and natural remedies that you can use to get you sort of back into a state of equilibrium where you can deal with the anger constructively and not get bogged down. That numbness can turn into not being able to function at all. It happened to me. I couldn't get out of bed as a teenager a couple of times, and yeah, that stopped once I got in touch with my anger. And I've known people who couldn't get out of bed at all. Someone had to come and lift them out, and that's quite severe. You need to get help with that. Now, once you're getting the help, whether it's medication, therapy, both, it doesn't really matter. You still need to deal with what's coming up for you at home and in your own time, because things will come up. Anger will surface. Once you get in touch with it, it's going to be very difficult to go back and push it all down again. It'll just be too painful. Now, there are many ways to deal with anger. You can scream, smash things, write it down. If you're angry with certain individuals in particular, I would recommend not confronting them, but writing it down. Write a letter to them and then burn it. Pretend you're talking to them in a chair, like a role-playing kind of exercise, and say whatever you need to say. If you're at that murderous rate, depending on what was done to you, even watching violent movies, I used to do that. I used to go and watch graphically violent, bloody, gory movies and pretend that the bad guys were the people who messed with me. And when, seeing them suffer or die or whatever made me feel better. It was a huge catharsis, huge release. And then that agitation would go. I wouldn't get depressed. I'd go out for lunch afterwards and go shopping. So, yeah, whatever it takes. They're safe, they're healthy ways to release anger. And if you do that over time you'll find that yeah, you'll feel better and you'll avoid anger altogether, or you'll avoid depression altogether by feeling your anger. Now, I'm going to go into my spiel about forgiveness, because quite often I hear and have heard people state or claim that you need to release anger by forgiving. And you're not going to hear this anywhere else, but I don't believe that that's true. You release anger and all negative emotion by feeling it, going through it. Forgiveness actually has absolutely nothing to do with healing. And if you look up the word in a thesaurus, or in one of those early, probably from the 70s, 60s and before that, definitions in dictionaries, you'll see that it has everything to do with absolving, condoning, excusing, whatever, other people's behaviour. You won't see the word healing, you won't see the word therapy or love there anywhere. Now, if after you process your emotions, you kind of arrive at a place where you can forgive those who have hurt you, that's fine. But if you can't, that's fine too. It's not the end of the world, and it doesn't mean that you haven't healed. I haven't forgiven those who have abused me, but I've moved on with my life. That murderous rage has gone because I dealt with it when it came up, found safe ways to deal with it. You know, I've seen people try to forgive when they can't, because everyone else is telling them to, or because of their own religious or spiritual beliefs. They think they have to, but I think deep down subconsciously they know what it really means, and they know that they can't do that. They know they can't condone whatever it is that was done to them. So if you can't do it, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. If you try and force it, your anger will come out in other ways, or you'll get depressed again, and you'll just keep going round and round, up and down like a yo-yo. It's just not worth it. I think that's it. That's all I wanted to say about depression. Next week I'll be looking at panic attacks, because it's another one of those symptoms of trauma that I see a lot of people about. Until then, happy healing.